Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Yazariala from the Northern Kingdom, bringing some edification for you Negro, Latino, and Indigenous, who are the biblical Israelites. And I'm doing these lessons and the ability that the Most High has given me. Before we start, we want to give all honor and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatham, Rakakadash, that Yahweh, being the name of the Lord, not Jehovah, or God, or Yah, or Ahaya, it's Yahweh, the creator of all the Ancient of Days. Bahasham is in the name of, and Yahweh Shai is the one you guys call Jesus or the Christ, signally speaking. And we give double honors to elders in GMS. Shalom to the apostles, the bishops, and the men down in the highways and byways, giving the 100% truth day and night. Shalom to you and your households. And shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, the house of David, Labakarium in the Hebrew, the ones that are about to be saved. Shalom to you. And shalom to the speckled birds among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, but return to the house of Israel and are being edified by these videos. Shalom to you. And the date today is November 24th, 2024. And we're going to be speaking about the dispersion of the children of Israel and how this is what was one of the curses in the book of Deuteronomy 28:15-68, and is one way to identify the Israelites, which were going to be dispersed among all nations, aka the Gentiles. Okay, so let's get into the scriptures and get some understanding. Jeremiah 18:17, I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. Right? Because all the way from Deuteronomy 4:27, Deuteronomy 28:64, that was going to be part of the curses, that we were going to be scattered among all nations. And as you see here, this is in the book of Jeremiah, reiterating what is said in the law. Jeremiah 30:10, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, Yashar Allah, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob, Yaquab, shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So there is a lot being said in this verse, and there's a huge time frame being expressed, if you can see it. So first it's talking about I will save thee, right? Which has always been the promise. If you read the book of Judges, there's nothing but saviors. We had more than one savior. Moses was a savior, right? Joshua was a savior. Literally, the name Joshua in the Hebrew, Yahweh Shai, means he saves. Samson, he was a savior, right? A judge. That's what they called them then. We had many judges, saviors. And we're going to have the last one, which is Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which many of you call Jesus the Christ, right? So I will save thee from afar. Why? Because we're not gonna be in our land. We're gonna be we got kicked out of our land. First, the Northern Kingdom got kicked out, right? And then finally, after 70 AD, the Jews were kicked out by the invasion of the Romans or the Edomites on the Holy Land, and we haven't been home since. Now there are people in that land, but what has happened? History repeats itself. What happened when the children of Israel were in captivity in Egypt? Other nations were living in our land. And when we got released, what happened? We conquered those lands and we killed those people with the authority of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So you have to understand that these people are in our land and they're about to be wiped clean with fire. So I will save you from afar and thy seed from the land of their captivity, right? Because the seed of our people, we're going to be dispersed. We're going to be sold through the transatlantic slave trade, through the Pacific slave trade, to the Silk Road, to Sub-Saharan. There are many slave trades. Maybe you should look into this. There's even a slave trade still going on to this day. In Yemen, are people being sold? And the land of their captivity, which is the last days, and Jacob shall return, right? And this is talking about when we are delivered in the kingdom of heaven, because the only place we're going to get real rest, brothers and sisters, you have to understand this, or 20 winks, is going to be in the kingdom of heaven, and that's reiterated in Isaiah 14 and in the 3rd verse, that we will get that rest. Here we could get a little bit of shut-eye, but true rest, no fear in your heart. That's one of the curses that we were gonna be afraid. We didn't know what hour we were gonna make it home, and then we didn't know if we were gonna make it the next day. That's part of the curses. And none shall make him afraid. So there's a lot being said here. Jeremiah 50 and 33, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go, right? Because a popular belief, a lot of people don't understand that the first slaves, that the first people in the transatlantic slave trade were so-called Native Americans. Taino Indians, to be specific. Okay? Those were the first slaves of the transatlantic slave trade, which later gave to the Pacific slave trade and the Silk Road and Sub-Saharan. And we get the understanding that, because you will never hear about this in the history books. You always will see this atypical, and where you will never see natives. It would just mention them passing, but it's not really drilled into as so-called Negros being sold into bondage. Because you have to understand that the natives are sold to bondage first. The natives, the so-called 10 tribes, were taken from their land in Samaria and taken on cargo slave ships to Assyria. That already happened to them. And then they happened to them again, going to from what you would call Puerto Rico all the way back to Spain to be sold there. Okay, so our people have gone through more than just one time, a cruise ship, as you say. But both of our kingdoms, both of the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, are now in slavery together, like we were in Egypt. We haven't been in slavery, or we haven't been together for over 3,000 years. Okay, so some people will say, well, those are not your people because these are black people and your hair is different. And there's nothing more ridiculous than that, because that's basically what the Willie Lynch letters talk about, creating division. And within our families, we have dark relatives and light relatives. So if that was the case, then you're going to have to get rid of your auntie because she's too dark. Or you got to get rid of your sister because she's too light. You know, that's just ridiculous. But you see the spirit, and we judge by the spirit that we're Israelites. We're the salt. We're the salt of this world, man. Second Maccabees 1 and 27. Gather those together that are scattered from us, deliver them that serve among the heathen, look upon them that are despised and abhorred, and let the heathen know that thou art our God. Right? Because they're finding out. They're really finding out now that what they did is really touched the apple of the Lord's eye. And they know they're going to get it. This is Nehemiah 9:27. Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. And at the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven. And according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors. Right? We just mentioned that. The book of Judges, we had saviors. We had more than before the Judges. All right? Moses was a savior or a judge, and Joshua was a savior or a judge who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. And that's what it is to be saved. To be saved from the hand of their enemies. Okay? Our enemies are not going to be saved. We're going to be saved from them. That's how that works. Let me get 2 more verses. And call it. This is John 7:35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that he shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Now you can look up a different version of this from NLT to ESV, and basically they're telling you, will he go to the Greeks and teach the Greeks? Because that's what we were being called, Greeks. Because we were living as the Greek lifestyle, right? Final verse. This is Tobit, chapter 13, verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, you children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them. So you have to understand that being dispersed among all nations is biblical prophecy unfolding as we speak. And you have to understand that coming together under one kingdom is prophecy in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 12. And that's what the Lord came to bring the lost sheep of the house of Israel together and become one nation under one stick, under one shepherd. I hope you guys got edified. Call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Barakatham Rakakadash, and we give double honors to elders and GMS. Shalom to the apostles, the bishops, and the men down in the highways and byways doing the 100% truth. Shalom to you. He that have ears, let him hear. Shalom.